Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Ashley. Today I will be doing my March wrap-up. I read 5 books. I was really hoping to read more books than I did in March. I got back into writing and it was just kind of hard to balance a little of everything. Excuses, I know. I am going to film this and hopefully you're going to watch it, so I will just dive right in. So the first book that I read was A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. This is the second book to the Shades of Magic series that she has written. The first one is A Darker Shade of Magic. It is about this magic traveler that can go between 4 worlds, and he's one of 2 people that can do it in the whole universe. So there are 4 different universes and they all kind of lay on top of each other, and it's all different except for the fact that one city in all 4 of them, they are all called London. And so there is Grey London, which is the London that our world would have, where there's no magic. And the magic kind of died off. There's Red London, where the main character Kel is from, and magic is vibrant, and you know, everyone has power of some sort and they're thriving. There's White London, where magic is slowly dying away. They have barely any magic left, and it's really harsh and cruel world where it's like survival of the fittest, basically. And then there's Black London, where it was consumed by magic and they have permanently closed off the gates between the 4 different realms because of that. So the first book, which I read about a year ago and I loved, I think I gave it a 5 out of 5. The first book is kind of introducing the main character Kel, and it shows him going through various worlds. So the second book has him and Lila Bard, who is someone from Grey London. In the first book, she kind of gets swept up into his world, and they are the 2 main characters. And so it picks back up with their story, and there's this huge tournament that happens, and most of the second book takes place around the tournament. So there's a lot of interesting stuff that happens. So Schwab does a really great job introducing the characters in this story and developing them even further from the first one. Her writing style is my favorite because she is like the best of both worlds, where she can do great imagery, great flowery writing if she wanted to, but she's really to the point and everything is short and sweet for her, and she can put down what she needs to say in a paragraph as opposed to in a page. So the second one's really good. The whole time she does this really great job of building up tension, because you know that there's something that's going to be happening during like the whole second book, but you don't know what exactly it is that it's going to be. And so I just had this dread the whole time as they are doing these games, as there's parties and balls, and you're like, something's gonna happen, something's gonna happen. It kept me really engrossed in the book, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars because it's V.E. Schwab and she does not disappoint. This is not in the same order because I did take a break in between the 2, but just for the sake of keeping it all together, another book that I read in the month of March, A Conjuring of Light. So this is the 3rd and final book to the Shades of Magic series. And this one was a little bit harder to get through. As you can see, it's a little bit thicker. I felt like there were storylines and character arcs that could have been better developed. Throughout the 3 books, you see his struggle with his identity and with his relationship with his brother and his adoptive parents, the king and queen. And I would have liked to have seen a better development of that. I felt like maybe there was too much going on in the 3rd book and she didn't want to crowd the book with that, but I really would have liked to have seen that. I wouldn't say that there was really any like one-dimensional characters, because all of them had dimension and all of them had really intriguing stories, so loved that. But that, I feel like for her as a writer, she does a lot of character-driven stories, and the plot kind of suffered a little bit in this one because it started off so fast and then it just kind of like died off a little bit, and I really struggled to in the middle to kind of work through it, so it took me a little bit longer than normal. I read the second book in one day, and I read this one in like 3 to 5 days, so it was a little bit of a struggle. And one thing that I really liked about this was, as in the second book and the third book, she started showing more points of views between all of the characters, because the first book is third person point of view, and most of the time it's just Kel and Lila, the two main characters. But in the second book and in the third one especially, there were like no rules. She would just change the perspective mid-chapter if she wanted to. She's such a tremendous writer. I think I gave this a 4. Yeah, I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, just because I struggled with the plot a little bit, and there were just some issues I had with some of the, like I had mentioned with Cal and his relationship with his parents. I would have really liked to have seen more of that. So yes, that is the end of my V.E. Schwab. The next book that I read, and I talked about this in my popular book series that I won't be finishing, and it was Stalking Jack the Ripper. This is a mystery, partial thriller maybe. It takes place in like the early 1800s, and you know, it's in London. It's that time of Jack the Ripper, and it's this girl's perspective, and she has to be a proper lady, but she really wants to train under her uncle to learn how to become a mortician. And so she sees all of these gory deaths, and she works in this lab with her uncle, and she starts to see like the bodies of the Jack the Ripper victims. She brings it upon herself to go and hunt Jack the Ripper herself. I did not find it interesting. If you watch my video 2 videos ago, I'll put a link in my little description bar, but I did not like it. There were a lot of things I hated about it. I didn't like the main character. I didn't like necessarily the writing style, and I didn't like the romance, and I knew who Jack the Ripper was probably the soonest instance that you could find out. I was like, oh, I know who it is. So I was disappointed, and it wasn't that great, so I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars. Sorry about it. The next book that I read is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book to the Throne of Glass series. I had read the first Throne of Glass book about a year ago, and I really didn't like it. I liked the plot, but there were just like her writing style, the main character, and just like certain aspects of it that I just really didn't like, and I had no urge whatsoever to read the second book. However, as I mentioned in my previous video, I have FOMO, and I keep hearing a lot of great things about the last 3 out of the 6. So I said, why not? I heard that the first 2 were the worst, and that it gets better once Sarah J. Maas starts showing different perspectives and adding new characters. The second book I gave a 3 out of 5 stars. I do like the plot. I can kind of sense where the book is going. And she does a really great job at world building, and like I said, the plot's really interesting. But I don't like the characters. I don't think she has good character development, and I don't necessarily like her writing style. The same issues that I had with the first book, I had with the second book. It did get a little more interesting, but my biggest problem is that I just really don't like the main character. Like I said, she's kind of a Mary Sue. She's like the chosen one. She's super special, super pretty. Everyone loves her. Everyone's into her, and only she could do this great thing, blah, 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 and she doesn't want to do it, whatever. I'm just not into it, but I'm gonna push through, I think, because like I said, the plot's pretty interesting, so I just want to see where it goes. Maybe I'll finish it, so we'll never know. No, I guess we will know. We'll find out. I don't know why I said it like that. Oh, I read 6 books. My bad. Okay, so I'm so mad. The next book I read was Wicked Saints, and go ahead and check out my Wicked Saints review. So I'll just keep it brief here, and there's no spoilers in the Wicked Saints review that I did, but I'm mad because I pre-ordered the book, and it came out on Monday, and it's still not here. It's supposed to be delivered today. It's still en route for delivery, but I really want to get this video filmed. But I really would have liked to have held the book right here. So you're just gonna have to do with this little picture I have, but because I got an e-arc when I read it. So I gave Wicked Saints 5 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. I really like it's a gothic dark fantasy. I love the light and dark aspect of it. There's a villain romance. However, I will say this, the villain romance isn't exactly as it was advertised, because I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't want to spoil anything, but it wasn't what I expected it to be. I really like the main character, actually. If you like Leigh Bardugo's Shadow and Bone Grisham trilogy, you'll like this book, because I feel like the main character Nadia was done the way that I feel like Alina should have been done. However, I will say this, I wasn't a huge fan of Nadia by the end of the book, but I really liked Seraphine and Malakiaj by the end. So, and those are the 2 other main characters. If you want to know more, go ahead and watch my Wicked Saints review. But other than that, for a debut, I thought it was great. I kept my pre-order, obviously. It's just not here yet, so I'm really mad about that. Thanks, Barnes & Noble. Rude. It's definitely a book I would read again, and I'm really excited for the second one. I know that she's working on the second one right now, so yes, I can't wait. And then finally, the last book that I read is The Poppy Boar. Oh my gosh, this book was just so intense. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna try and get this. They live in like a fantasy China, and Rin is a poor war orphan that lives in one of the South provinces, and she is going to be married off to this old wealthy guy, but she does not want to get married. So she studies for 3 years for the Keju, which is a really hard 12-hour long test, and if you get a good enough score, you can go to school, and if you get the best score, you can go to this free military school. And so she sees that as her one chance to get out of this fate that she's basically been given. So she studies really hard. She scores the top in her whole province. So she gets into Sinigard, and she goes to this military school, and she already sticks out because she's darker skinned than everyone else. She's poor, she's an orphan, she doesn't have the same privileges and advantages that these other kids have, because the other kids are children of warlords and really high up important people. While she's at this military academy, their country actually breaks out into war, and so they're all thrust into this huge war between this other country. It was really intense. Let me say this, it is adult fantasy. There are trigger warnings for self-harm, for sexual abuse, physical abuse, blood, you know, death. Like, it's a heavy book, and I listened to it as an audiobook. It was intense, but it's a really good book. Just be aware of that. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars though. The writing was really good. The storyline was really good. Like, oh my gosh, I was very impressed. But like I said, it's really heavy. The plot is sometimes, there's just so much going on, and so that was a problem. But overall, like, it was a good book. If you feel like you can handle reading something that you know going in is going to be a little bit heavy, just be aware of that. But I really enjoyed it. It was great. I cried. I also cried in Conjuring of Light, but I also cried in The Poppy Wars, and I hate it when authors do this to me. Like, it just makes me so emotional. It's really funny because I can't cry in real life, but movies and books, I just like cry. I'll just sob. Let me know if you guys are like that too, because I don't know, it's just got me feeling some type of way. But yeah, that was the last book that I read. Now it's April, so maybe I'll do a TBR list for my next video, because I have lots of books that I want to read and need to read, and there's just not enough time in the day. But You're not here to watch me complain. You're not here to watch me complain about my time. You're here to watch me complain about the books that I've read. So keep an eye out for that. That is the end of this March wrap-up, recent reads, whatever, whatnot. But I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. Let me know what you guys have been reading, and let me know what your favorite V. Schwab book is. If you haven't read her, I highly recommend because she's amazing. But that is the end of this story. The end. Goodbye. Rude, absolutely rude. I pre-ordered my book. It didn't even come the day that it was due. What? The day? April 2nd. April 2nd. I pre-order and it's rude. Pre-ordered it, didn't come, still not here. It's Saturday and I wanted it Monday. Rude. Okay, that's my little rant. That's it. Bye.